Best shooting opportunity.
Paul with a great fake, and Finney-Smith through ball. Screen by Crowder against Doncic. Free to Crowder. Knocked away by Kleba. What a great role players at a big position. That will go in, dropping through.
Rick is that right there. CP3 draws the foul. He'll get a pair.
4 for Bertans. Doncic resting. Paul from 15. Time. Here comes Paul, shifting his way through and finding a gap. It's a rebound by Kleba. And Chris works his way to the lane. Rebound beyond.
Downtown, 12 of 18 from deep. Chris Paul. Crowder turns the corner on Doncic, a free pass.
Rudy Gobert in a tough spot. You got to do the same thing against Ayton.
Chris Paul, light work.
Try and get a victory. Go back to Phoenix up 3-1.
Chris Paul.
Crowder's got 10 to lead the Suns. Chris Paul mid-range. It's out to Paul and a fresh shot clock. Powell guards Paul.
For the Dallas Mavericks to get back in this ball game.
Paul fadeaway.
Wondering if he's starting to wear down a little bit as well.
Look at the maneuvering by Paul. Look at the shot by here. 23 for Paul. Sets up over Doncic. 20. Johnson a screen. Paul cleaving his way free. Missing the shot from 50 in the replay center. John Gobert. And it's a mid-range by Chris Paul. So he's made 15 outside the circle.
A little bit of a zone action here for the Mavs. Oof. Doesn't scratch the scoring column.
Ball to his right, the bump into Paul. Counted for 2 and a foul. Go on Paul. With the screen and a switch and over Kleba, Paul hits. And he
with Brunson trying to guard Ayton.
Ball to his left. Rebound, Doncic.
The ball movement here by the Pelicans. Everyone touching the basketball.
They only have 14 assists. Chris Paul
Distribute the basketball.
averaging at least 4 assists a game. Paul again. This is over Hayes and 2 of 2. Take a toll. They don't want to see a 7th game for number 1 seed. Paul. He has been perfect tonight.
Just because you have a bad workout, you can't solely base that on that. Again, Chris Paul.
Chris Paul maneuvering around the screen and puts up a beautiful 17. Screen by Ayton. Paul finds a gap. The sliver of room is all he needs.
A second.
Zigzagging as Paul finds his spot again. 8 of 8.
Too easy.
Now got the screen. Takes it through. Chiseling his way free. Paul. And Paul. Screen by Ayton. Chris Paul for the lead for Phoenix.
Continues.
Paul tries to work his way in. Wiggles his way. The fadeaway. Paul got it. It's Chris Paul into Alvarado. Works his way. Fouled. Shoved. Alvarado.
They run a play for him. Paul comes up the screen. Gets to the wing. Down it goes. Yeah. What caused the loss. But as you had noted, it's more about the defense. But 3 guys were going right to the board. Paul gets a little spacing. Paul already 12 points. Make it 14. 6:35. Paul yo-yos back and forth. Off balance. Goes working defensively against Chris Paul. Paul on a fade back. Won't get that one. And it. Chris jumps into the paint. Jumping into Jones. Won't get the roll. Departed before they captured their NBA title. Paul fading back right of the length. Paul on a drive, sets up the flyby, gets the look, knocks it down. That is. Paul gets the screen, sets up the little flyby on Alvarado. Coming off the Ayton screen, gets to the elbow.
Last game, 17 points the game before. 4th quarter's the news, and there he goes, driving right.
The fact that they're on different teams now, and guys, Monty and Willie lean on each other. They even pray together.
He's got all 6 of the Pelicans' points. Paul gets to the elbow, too strong on 60. Paul gets to his right, gets to his spot. Can't get the jumper to go. Jones now with 8. Paul gets to the baseline. Gets the look, won't get it. Long rebound
By the rookie Herbert Jones, who's been a great defender all year. And McCollum fights over the screen, and Chris Paul says, too late. Paul blocked by McCollum. Little low pick and roll game. Chris Paul, bucket. Good screen by Ayton. That's his spot, the elbow, and he converts it.
Here, without CJ and Brandon touching it.
Chris Paul, light work, like a drill. Paul snakes the screen, raising up. Repeat, and the
very defender on Sunday. Chris with a little dribble hesitation gets that teardrop too strong with that one. 9 of 25 from the field on Sunday for CJ. 3 of 8 from downtown. Sets up Nance, gets to the elbow.
Game one, even though the numbers were lofty. Paul with a spinning shot any other team had at home in their winning percentage. Paul, mid-range shot, which is
Score quickly before Phoenix can set up this defense.
Paul again, same position, setting up. Playing on a bad wheel. We'll show you that in a second. Paul from 16. It's Paul, jersey untucked, he's got business, and he fades away over McCollum, who gets the loose ball
With this high screening roll with Valanciunas.
It's Paul taking it inside and hitting 2.
Said it countless times, like if Chris Paul wanted to average 25 a game, he could average 25 a game.
Yeah, you can. And
Surprise because of the big bodies they put down there. 9-2 advantage on the glass is Paul. 22 career playoff games, all coming, of course, last season. Paul with his step back.
no.
Come up with a rebound.
You got to get the ball. It's almost like a Bill Russell block shot, right? His block shots always led.
Green telling his team, this is what we expected. This is what we signed up for. As Paul able to draw another foul. Alvarado trying to do his best to be a deterrent. Paul gets the contact, keeps cooking
For both sides.
Paul, leaner inside with the kiss.
4. Conley 0 for 3. Chris Paul, that's what he does so
in that paint. There's got to be some shifting by his teammates.
Hassan comes over to help.
Who was down in the paint with him? It was Devin Booker. Wanted the pass, but was ready to put that thing. My goodness.
135 on the season for Rudy, then Chris Paul.
There in that third quarter, he's back out on the floor now to start the fourth.
He'll run it up as he stepped around.
Allow that. Now, in the playoffs, you're not going to have a lot of those kind of leads where Jazz can keep that energy up.
Booker's on the bench. Chris Paul runs the show. That jumper.
Haven't seen Rudy shoot many of those hooks with the left hand, but I like it.
Chris Paul, now watch on the rim. Now you have to play defense. Chris Paul, so tough to guard. Puts a shot up.
This end of the floor that's going to be make or break, not only tonight, but the final 4 games. This shot by
Hedge on threes, off the dribble versus off the catch. Because he shoots it seemingly.
the star power, very close, and the game's close. Mid-range for Chris Paul, and he scores.
As this team projects out into the future, you never know what the roster might look like, and him continuing to be able to play multiple positions.
Mr. Sarr for the trifecta.
27 out of the 37 points for the Thunder have come.
27th of the 39 points.
Paul lives in the mid-range.
Is the assisted buckets. Thunder had 10 assists in the second quarter alone.
Certainly able to finish, not trying to stay attached to Chris Paul. You see Paul putting up shots, got to the mid-range.
And then be able to make decisions to call your own number.
Brandon, is this a preview of a potential Western Conference final? I
think the official thought it was a little bit of a flop.
But Chris Paul has been off record, including this one tonight. Paul finds his spot. In and out, no.
His numbers have gone down since the All-Star break and the return of Thompson. Chris Paul talks to is held by Golden State, 34-7 back in 2016. As Chris Paul connects, is that going to help his cause? Because he's top of mind for all the voters, as opposed Phoenix by 1. Paul drives, floater is good. Chris Paul.
Leading up to this matchup, 76ers in that pick and roll are really good because of James and
assists a game. Paul pulls up this time from the left elbow.
A more than competent shooter.
Paul pulls up from the elbow, and finally.
In Phoenix, right? The amount of wins they have as opposed to the others.
Paul, no. 8.
Tyrese for 3.
Sixers in front. Paul, elbow. 7 on the shot clock. Off the 8 and screen. Paul searching for a little space.
God.
Finds it. Stop. Paul keeps it himself. And the Suns.
That little baby hook he can go to. Got it off.
Paul pulls up free throw line.
Down 11. Clawing back into this, making it a tight one.
Maxey got a piece of that. Paul sidestep jumper. And it rattles.
In the second, he put it on the floor.
Paul calls his own number this time and gets the friendly roll. A little bit tighter here.
Nuggets, as Shaq might say, need the others to come along tonight with Nikola Jokic. As
Chris Paul and Austin Rivers getting it after it.
Active, looking to score right away. Jokic and Ayton going at each other a little bit.
And the Suns, Chris Paul breaks through. Tough shot. His shot, he missed it.
Feel it building.
Fans at a fever pitch. Chris Paul in the lane, got it.
Driving lane like that, good things happen for the Denver Nuggets.
All 5 Nuggets starters are in double figures.
It's going to be a tough call because Monte Morris 4 of 4 from 3.
Yeah, Monte Morris has played.
Paul with a pull over Holiday for that one. 3-point game. Paul on the elbow.
Probing, Paul, tough shot. Shubot's the Russians. Clippers are out to a good start. Paul, a little mid-range is good.
Well, the entire Suns team looked like Crowder on Morris, but he still knocks it in.
Chris Paul, third. Paul, drawing traffic, gets by Shubot's. Just getting started here in the third quarter. And Paul was disrupted for that big second quarter. Paul, Psalm handles. Chris Paul got 10 points, 8 assists. And that was good.
You can't leave Cam Johnson.
Chris Paul again, up and over Hartenstein. Tough shot for the Clippers. Paul patient, gets into it now. He'll put it up. Off the window, it's good.
Paul gets it up ahead. They leave him wide open. One tied at 7 here. Just under 9 to go in the opening quarter. Paul looked at the pass. Instead of take the
defensively extremely well and can elevate and block shots.
Paul back on the floor. Immediately goes Crowder with a touch pass back to Paul. Working on Anthony. Gets off the Ayton screen. Paul on the drive makes that little side to side
for Giannis. And taking it inside, Chris Paul.
Starting to heat up.
Paul, lickety split the other way and open for the mid-range shot, which he always hits.
Together, though.
Look at the penetration here by Paul. Switch with Monroe. Chris Paul. Switch with Monroe. And Paul will dance a bit and fire. Chris Paul.
If you can get him to shoot a jumper fadeaway, you win.
Chris Paul getting past everybody.
Especially the jumpers outside the paint.
Chris Paul, we all know, likes to go to his right. Burke at 9 in his return to the lineup on Sunday. The Chris Paul cross.
McGee wanted it more.
Tied again. Back and forth we go. He's in lane. Doesn't like going to his left. Much prefers 7 assists, couple of rebounds.
Oh, look how he initiates contact. Man, he's so savvy. Has to get all the way to the cup.
Slithery and slippery. Paul, mid-range.
Here, I'm going to give you that jumper, but it allows JoJo to get into a rhythm that the defense kind of got lulled to sleep a little bit. That's when he turned it back on and exploded.
Third on Joel. Paul fading, hitting.
Doubt about that.
Paul wants to go to his right. Danny Green in his face. Shorts, jump. Back and forth we go. Under 10 to go. Drummond tried to get a piece of Sixers 5th in the East. Paul, baseline, no good. Ayton into this one.
Got to get some stops now, though. That's the key. Tough shot. My goodness.
Over 100 seconds. Paul with DeRozan closing. DeRozan. There's the screen by Ayton. Paul, the fading jumper.
Oh, wow.
Levine on the switch. The screen from Ayton. Levine sticks with him. A little bit of confusion right at the end. Fine. Paul navigate into the paint. Left it well short. Good defense by 2019 the last time. Wow. Paul in the mid-range. Yep.
They went straight to the three-point line and got nothing.
And then Ayo hit the deck, and then Paul just easily takes it in. 22-point game, though. It's Chris Paul. Yes.
Boy, he comes off. The Bulls right now are playing the game that they want them to play. They want you to take quick shots. They them up.
Not just that, he signed a massive extension as well as he hits the baseline jumper. Stud.
Yes, he is.
Chris Paul, the elbow jumper. Chris Paul from the free throw line. Dioptia going to the scorer's table. Paul able to handle along the base.
If he's untradeable, that means he could sit down and let
the difference between these two is on the defensive end as Paul gets a little space and shoots over Capella.
Up to the wing and gave it to Hunter in the corner wide open.
Paul easy inside off the window. Got Hunter with 10, Trae Young with 12, and Herter with 12. Up high off the window. Great body control by Young. Here's Paul again.
To attack and get a shot. And I ended up with just a desperation.
Devin Booker has been cold since a fast start. It's all Paul here, and he'll run home.
Still the night. Paul keeps his dribble short. Milan, 8 minutes left here. Paul probing, in and out.
He gets around Griffin. Paul all the way at the horn. All of his field goals have come from three-point territory. Paul probing, and he missed the bunny. Stages of the game. Paul, the step on Irving, floater, no, foul, yes. Harden now with 17 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. Paul coming to the bench for the final 2 minutes and change. Chris Paul, pedal to the metal, always.
It has really tested his coaching chops.
Goes back to teaching.
Yes.
He's always been a teacher.
Continue to be with this team, man. It's been a great run.
And I guess the next question, because I'll ask it since EJ's
building trust, and when you have that as an organization, especially as a team, it makes you feel a chance to see some really cool, special things, and you can start to connect the dots, and you'll see why we've been so successful. Not just whether or not our players will come out and play well, you just don't know what the opponent would do because they haven't played.
Chris Paul and Devin Booker talk openly about their focus of getting their coaching staff there. 23-point outing in the victory at home Friday night against Chicago as Paul leaves that one short. Beyond.
I mean, he's just picked it up for the defense. And this is a small lineup that Monty Williams has stayed with. And
playing with 2 fouls.
And a good block out by Phoenix.
Paul on the drive. He's got a little rhythm going. Is an area where you should be able to exploit him, right?
Yes.
As Paul gets him up than others. Suns with a 21-point lead as we.
Because I knew if I got good rotation and my ball hit the back of the rim, it's going to rotate downward with some rhythm offensively, which is expected.
Getting into the paint. Paul with the pull-up. This one off cut this lead in half. 48-37. Paul with the baseline pullback. No. Works away from the screen. 1 on the shot clock. 6th assist. The average is just 5 per game. As Paul takes a little pull-up in the paint. Thought that they're looking for stuntmen in Hollywood. Chris Paul with a pull-up. Won't get the... So he will not hit the 40-point threshold this evening, barring overtime, of course. And they've gotten this crowd whipped into a frenzy. Layup. 15 turnover for the Jazz as Chris Paul gets to the layup line.
He's Chris Paul.
Paul trying to get to his spot instead. Takes it right to the cup.
That up.
Chris on the drive, cut off by Connolly. Gets back across the paint with a pull-up.
A big man at 264. Paul, rare miss from inside.
You know they're going to need him later on in the year.
7 points for Gay. Paul with the answer on the other.
Gets off into this incredible groove early on. Devin Booker's playing lights out. It looked like we could.
Quinn Snyder said before the game, to some extent, he's still kind of feeling his way after off-season heels. Here's Paul, mid-range maestro. He shoots 54 points
from Chris Paul. Got caught peeking, and Forrest went right by him, but CP3 pays him back with a little run out of gas a little bit. Struggling to get good shots.
From the office. Paul with Biyombo, taking himself. Biyombo there once, twice.
The double team swings it back across to Paul. 5 on a shot clock. He'll take that jumper all night.
Shake, that's Grant.
Right.
He gets the bomb pop.
Paul looked like half lob. Paul working the two-man game with Biyombo. Takes a little runner again. Paul, we'll take a look at the 18-footer.
4-0 on this 5-game road trip. And Chris second on him. Paul. Good fake.
Body into Devin Booker, backs him up, finds the glass wide open. Chris Paul. That's another thing. He's Chris Paul. For him. Oh, yeah, it's not just SGA. Giddy, the rookie, ball was good. They've got to get stops. They can't allow Phoenix just to run whatever they want. And Chris Paul, he's going to find that in between.
Something that they can say negative. And you can't say anything negative about Devin's defense. His effort on defense has been huge.
CP weaving through traffic, rising up on 2 defenders and sticks it right in the midair.
You know, I'm more in the game. You know, there's going to be some energy exhibited here.
Inked for the rest of the season. A great insurance policy for Phoenix. Chris Paul, wide open, tap it over for the Suns' possession. Now going to work on Sadiq Bey, fires too much. 110-89, the Suns near the 9-minute mark here of quarter number 4. Chris Paul, hopefully they can rest him. Suns have certainly picked it up on the defensive end and trying to polish off the Pistons. Chris Paul couldn't get it.
Chris Paul looks over to tell Lloyd Pierce what they're going to run, and he didn't come close to running.
He has 8. Pacers down just 6. Happened in about 4 minutes. He's got 23.
Well, that's what's supposed to. They didn't want to come off of Chris Paul.
But they are just 2 of 12 here in the 4th quarter. It was that run at the end of the 3rd quarter. And Chris Paul. Paul with a pull-up.
Sets the tone with the pickup point, right? With your defense.
And it's a 3-point lead, right?
Toronto, that's really been a problem for them.
Chris Paul shot doesn't go into Boucher. Paul into the paint, over Birch, shot.
12-8 Suns on top. That was the first 2-point make, and now CP trying to match.
I mean, he
tracked, and he has been very impressive for this Miami team. Quick layup attempt by Payne. A Superman move by Mikel. Went airborne. Arms outstretched. Where do they find these guys? Chris Paul fading away from his spot.
Inside the 3. They're going to get punished.
Chris Paul pull up. Defended there by Guy.
In the second half. Because he came out and he said, okay, we're going to be more opportunistic and get to the rim. About that than anything is the second chances that they got.
Well, that was a backbreak.
I got to show him something.
Duncan is 8 of 14 deep. Push shot by CP.
Undrafted rookie out of Baylor at 27 years old is in for the Suns. Paul off balance. Morris screened by Biyombo. Chris Paul.
By the Clippers.
It's Paul and no one around. And he got it again. And
early in the shot clock. Don't allow Phoenix to get that defense set.
Paul, that is what he loves to do, right? To get out, and they eventually gave him his wish. 15-footer by Booker, no. Got his own.
He's got the mid-range all the time.
A break for the Pels because
But you have to try and play with a little bit of pace and attack them before they get sick.
Mid-range, look out. Money. Graham, he's 2 of 6 on his triples now. Chris Paul's mid-range. He won't get the roll. Clock is down. It'll go up over Jackson. And Chris Paul will get it. Josh Hart bouncing. Omega Devontae with Chris Paul, who gets where he wants to and comes up short for Valen shooters. Chris Paul already with a double-double and the runner. Biombo.
Different options for this entire fourth quarter.
Got to stop.
That shooting rhythm since coming back off the bench. Paul able to shake the defender, get the mid-range.
Try to play on. Chris Paul, a little floater. He'll do that all day long. All over Phoenix, 60-35. Oh, man. Can't miss that. Paul. Takes the free throw jumper, and it goes in and out. Paul. That was a nifty little move. Yeah, it was.
A good energy to open up this game as Paul flies in right below the free
at the last second.
Paul, well, he's been making that.
Some of them out of there. So far, he hasn't been able to do that. I'm sitting on 20.
With 6.5 remaining here in the second quarter. It's Dort on Paul, and Paul gets the best of him. Phoenix is led by double digits. The Thunder hanging really tough as Dort recovered and blocked the shot.
A 9-0 scoring run. Here is Chris Paul, who was the game's high scorer on Saturday. And triple, by the way, for Sticks, just his second of the season. It's Chris Paul working on Morant.
Well, he need his offense here in the second half.
0-4, leans in there, won't get that one.
Physical guy, but man, he's got a finesse game.
Paul with a mid-range pull-up like they said. 50 rebounds is their magic number as Paul kind of readjusts the corner. Paul works his way inside. They've been able to cut into this league while he has gotten a nice breather. On the drive, Paul, no. Offensive. Yeah, just 21 assists so far tonight with the Suns. Paul with a pull-up in the paint. Yeah, and because of that explosive step, he gets you on your heels. Chris Paul with a floater. Comes up short with that one.
Game against Phoenix this year. Chris Paul got to his spot. He's been making that shot. Chris Paul with the midi, got it. Sing on the thumbs up sign that he gives the Kobe mural. Boy, what a great scoop shot. Chris Paul spun him around that time, missed the scoop shot. Out of bounds off of the weak side to Chris Paul. Kuminga. Ball missed from his spot, and Chris Paul got all the way to the basket by Kuminga for the layup.
Here's Paul on the drive. It's just his. Paul working the two-man game, gets to his spot, and that's coming out of the timeout, and they were unable to make the necessary corrections as Paul.
Need to prefer it too. Go right ahead.
Here's Paul on the drive inside. There's Paul with a pull-up. Paul working the two-man game, gets to his sweet spot, leaves that one. Paul, drive inside, able to bait the back on the floor. Out there with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is Paul with a bucket. Paul trying to work the two-man game. Works inside on his former teammate.
Game, Ayton changing and contesting shot. And Paul, a little mid-range, knocks it down. Gordon Tucker got a piece of that. Paul recovers. And he knocks it down. Man, Suns by 6. Paul pulls up and hits. This. Paul, long two, tough shot with Rondo defending.
Chris Paul finds his spot off the back iron. 32 against New York and 35 at Cleveland. Wide open look once again for Chris Paul.
Paul from 14.
Cash. That's cash that he probably wasn't offered because he was looking for that Michael Porter Jr. deal, that 200 plus. I don't think.
CP3 from 13. CP3 to the free throw line. CP3 just having his way. He's toying
the significant defensive categories. 2 fouls for Paul, and he puts this over Nurkic. 1. They won 10 straight home games. Now they've lost 4 in a row. Chris Paul probably more than we've seen him do all year. It's Chris Paul with the fadeaway. Nance. Wheeling in Paul, open lane, took advantage of it right there.
Athleticism and skills, but in reality, where the best players separate themselves is as
with that screen, and Paul working around it. Floater on the fly and a rebound.
Those shots are going on a run.
This Paul energized here in the second half, puts it up. McGee was waiting
to get out his opportunities like he did then.
Paul, mid-range shot, which he excels at work. Paul trying to pry. This is over Lillard. The second of a back-to-back. Wheels down the lane, a floater on the fly. Nurkic got the screen. Here comes Paul over Nurkic. Got it. That ties the Chris Paul into Covington. To tie. Got it.
Little rest up at the other end.
Paul finds a little nook to crawl through. Can't get it.
Suns 23. Paul, foul line, hard place for him, and that's back to saying this is the guy. If we don't make the playoffs this year, you can let me go. But the fortunes for the Clippers turned around. Chris Paul, blocked by Zoo. Take foul, it never occurred, and the Clippers are better for it. Paul, good defense there.
Someone actually used Curtin Paul, or how it was derived. Do you know?
I'm going to guess it.
Onto that title. Tough shot, won't fall for Paul, but McGee. Going to the finals those 2 years, you just got to find a way to contribute as a young player.
Paul is fouled by Schroeder. Phoenix, the second best record in the NBA, a half game behind the Warriors. Mid-range jumps. Here's Paul, another mid-range shot. No good that time. Come with like some sort of like news breaking.
No, there's no high level
early on. He's only got 10 since, and he's 9 for 23 from the floor on the night. Mid-range jumper.
Paul gets to his spot, gets the matchup he wants. Those are Popovich's Spurs. Paul. Hurdle with the block.
Be a good chance to get to the rim or get you a shot off. You got to go for it.
Forbes, a terrific three-point shooter, lets you know it.
Oh, it's going to bounds. He's not saving. He's not keeping it in bounds. He won a trophy, but he's playing with the team right now where if they just compete and commit to doing the things that
he's just thought about the three.
Good decision.
And the money on the board quickly. McDermott's missed 7 games this season with knee issues. As Paul, 94 points per game. Paul with a pull-up, can't rebounds for DA. Paul on the dribble drive, invites Pirtle, but this time with long arms at great reach. Thought about the pass to DA instead.
I'll take. Be comfortable to take it.
Working on Pirtle with the pull-up. Money. Then funnel him to Pirtle. Won't get it. DA with that.
Right here.
On the pull-up. Yes!
3 turnovers in that game. Paul, mid-range? Sure. I did. When I was in 9th grade, I certainly did not. Paul flips
I never
it
had
in.
it, so I don't believe that. So not just shooting the long ball, his ability to finish with both hands.
Paul can make a push. Down 12, a little over 8 minutes to go in this fourth, second half of a back-to-back for the Suns.
Yeah, but again, it's something that he understands, and good for Devin that, you know.
Being the type of player that should seamlessly fit right in if Booker were to miss. Hayes has the chore of covering Chris Paul on a switch. Stewart was there, he backed off. CP couldn't.
They're not going anywhere.
Chris Paul comes up way short.
But the fight in that game.
There was no fight in that game, apparently.
And they get it back, and they make something great.
Pull up Chris Paul. Crunch time.
rise to him. He shoots it better, actually, with a contest so far this year, but you can't leave him open like that.
Going to just be hanging in the paint. Read where it's going and run to it. Devin Booker.
The way throughout, probably.
And Chris Paul, master of the mid-range. Guys talked about it on the Jack in the Box at the half. And the Warriors have to get up and down. But you have to.
This is not your normal Warrior offense.
Chris Paul for the mid-range. Warriors just hanging around here. Elfrid Payton took it all the way in to get Payton off of Paul. They like that Bielitsa switch.
And then Chris a little off balance.
So Cameron Payne, he got hung up in the air.
The guy in front, they're going to have to throw through a defender.
Chris Paul, very good defense on Bridges. Here comes Chris Paul down the lane and that little pull-up.
By everyone on this Phoenix offense.
Paul fading away. That is
Bembry's continuing to be on the move and finding some looks for himself.
Paul leaves that one short. 14, Durant with 14. Paul, wow, he was just left alone. Breakdown defensive. Chris Paul, oh yeah. And Paul looking to end it here. Gets rejected by Harden.
4 from downtown. Suns have hit 6 of 8 overall. Paul foul on his jumper.
Being aggressive with this opportunity.
Chris Paul finds his way to the elbow. Jump shot won't go. Makes them go really cold and then late hit them again. Right now they're just 4 of 16. Chris Paul's jumper is good. The fans chanting defense as Chris Paul falling away, can't get it to go. Mike D'Antoni. Chris Paul scoots inside, draws the foul, and one.
Paul picked up by Garland. Garland got screened off by Ayton. Paul across the foul line, can't get. Paul pulls up, got it.
Part of Team USA.
White with the second bucket for the Spurs as Paul comes back to answer.
Paul's going to come off the rim. Great anticipation again.
Chris Paul the miss.
Paul comes right back.
Chris Paul working with Ayton again. Was saying that Chris Paul really
just nicely. Yeah, Devin Vassell, his offensive game is starting to skyrocket.
Paul weaving his way in and out. Murray got a piece of it. Vintage Chris Paul will protect the basketball.
You just have to make really sure passes down the stretch. You can't get too crazy with it.
We mentioned JaMychal only shooting 20% from 3. Chris Paul from 2 is almost off. The Suns are a little bit shorthanded too. They're missing Frank Kaminsky, Abdul Nader. And I'm going to say it. Get a little closer. Get a stop. Chris Paul.
Paul zigging, zagging, and hitting. We've already had 12 lead changes in this first half. Neither team is led by more than 6.
And protect the paint at the same time.
Paul probing, taking, short. Shot clock at 5. Paul elevates, no. McGee,
the toughest task to defend.
Paul mid-range, oh yeah.
Get something in transition was big.
Paul, not that time for Paul. Got that one for Chris Paul. Paul again dancing in the mid-range. Gets
a right ankle injury 2 years ago and played in the playoffs 2 years ago despite a left ankle injury.
Porzingis is at the three-point line.
Chris Paul continues to struggle. Suns play again here Friday. Then the Mavs go to LA to play the Clippers twice. Chris Paul on the book.
Mistake defensively.
16 threes for Dallas. Chris Paul as he Suns by 5. Paul driving, stops, pops. No good, but he was fouled.
D'Lo going to do against DeAndre Ayton when he rolls to the rim like that? There's really nothing they can do. Teamly go 9 and 10 deep, sometimes even 11. Chris Paul knocks down his. Paul moving to his right. Hits the mid-range.
presence every time down the floor. No one's willing to fight attack him.
Short, and the reason that Booker was short, crushing picks by McGee. Little inside-outside dribble there from Paul. Over the last handful of games, he gets it up top. He's open. Doesn't see a man either cutting or trailing for a three.
See them. They ran a play specifically to get Desmond Bane a good look as Chris Paul gets a. See, they can get him one on the break though. Get out, get him a easy lay-in. Can he get a foul? Gets his.
Paul comes foul line, sends it, and by 16. Crowder's back in. Devin Booker's back in, and Chris Paul gets the kind bounce. Down. He's got so many options, but he's going to call his own number again. And Chris,
the second best record in the league with minimum 25 minutes or more behind Georgie Niang. Little should get Jay to the free throw line. We'll figure that out.
I don't miss that. Answer some questions, snap some selfies. A dermatology provider makes the formula from.
So Damian Lillard knocks that down. His first and only free throw. Chris Paul, little dribble.
Teams are going to make a run. So I'm not saying it's like weird that somebody gets back in the game, but not easy.
Make quarter as he misses on that free throw. Poland spending some time with it. Chris Paul working the two-man game, working against Nate. Drive, Nance Jr. able to get inside with the finish. Paul with a crossover got him.
And the Suns have to match that, especially early.
Yeah, that's one of the things that Monty pointed out. His book gets the open look. And
that Girology was straight up simple. All right, one bottle. This is already easier. I put it on.
Consistently on that play.
Paul gets himself free from the elbow, but leaves that one. Seemed to bring the three ball against the Suns as Paul fires short. So to your point, EJ, when the depth is made up so much of.
Capella's arms are about as long as his body. I mean, so that's what makes him so dangerous.
On the glass tonight. Paul able to get right in the lane. Sweet spot. I feel like some of it is just the sense of allowing these guys to. Martin Jr. just 20 years of age. Paul with the elbow jumper. Son.
Paul can't get the mid-range to go. 9 assists tonight. And he finds Kaminsky and a foul and counted. Approaching the 10-minute mark, just 2 minutes into this fourth. Here is Paul. Knocks down the mid-range.
Easy opportunities playing with this guy.
18 assists tonight for Paul now. And it's 35. Chris Paul. Now he's taken over and he scores
from deep. Paul across the lane. Difficult shot with Allen on the contest. Paul. Cut off by Allen, missed it. Love rebound. Boy, Love. Ball through the basket. He draws the foul. Putting a bow on that last thought. That turnover by the Cavs was number 14 as Paul from the elbow gets a friendly roll. 8 points and grabbed 8 rebounds in the first half. Paul.
9 Edwards and Tate. Paul on the drive. They've given the lane. Will get him a DA. Lead at halftime in each of their 3 games, Andy, but turnovers have been a major issue. Paul across, thought he was great. Paul on a crossover, gets the pull up, won't get it to go down. Paul working the two-man game again, able to get inside. Thought he was fast.
39%.
Yeah, became the franchise leader in career threes versus Utah. Chris Paul still looking. Paul on the drive. Gets the pull up and gets one to go down. Well tonight, the number 2 free throw shooting team last season. Chris Paul on the drive, home to the block. Both to go down.
Yeah, 2 for 2. When he left Phoenix and went to Atlanta, he took over 200 threes.
Game is 0 for 2 from 3. Paul off the screen from the elbow. I mean, he's total ownership of what they're trying to do here.
Here's Paul.
Paul bouncing, taking, and got beat down the floor a lot. But no. 13-point Suns lead. Paul, pull up.
Why Bazemore goes down? AD had him locked up.
Paul calls for the screen, gets around it, probes into the paint, hit him with a little bit of salt. Chris Paul with the pull-up, and Chris Paul with these Suns. Paul off the screen, the mid-range is pure.
Not only can he do that, but he can stop and pop a three and also drop a dime for somebody.
Chris Paul, everything but the...
Every single day if he wants, but to go back and get his education and contribute to the HBCUs is just huge.
So they'll reevaluate him in a week, but that at least sounds good, right? It makes you think that it's not serious.
As it goes to the dribble from the Bahamas, DeAndre Ayton.
He understands the game. We know that he can shoot the basketball, but he's showing a real awareness.
On anybody. Chris Paul bumping into Kendrick Nunn. Chris Paul tonight, he's hit 2 threes, remember. He's 2 out of 4 now. Has 6 points. Pull up. Has half a dozen. Nobody in the game in double figures yet. Rebounded Davis after the miss NBA in three-point shooting last year. Phoenix was 7 from beyond the arc.